Oh, it's so dark in here.
Good morning.
Morning. My light's usually better.
I had an email that said Dusty joined, but I'm not seeing him on the participants. So let me double check, make sure he's not in.
I thought the email said he accepted it, not that he was joined, like that he joined.
Yeah, I have a different one that says Dusty has joined your meeting.
Oh.
Start meeting, real estate training, February 9th. Should be the right one. That's weird. Hey, good morning, bud. Hey, I saw your email come through that you joined, but I'm not seeing it on the participants.
Yvette,
Yes.
you hear my audio?
Yeah.
Okay. How are you?
I'm good. So you have a new file?
I do.
Ah, yay. That's exciting. The one that you showed over the weekend?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was tough, man, and we're still kind of going through a few minor things.
Okay.
But we're rocking and rolling.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got you. All right, bro. All right. Later. How you doing?
Good, Brandon. How are you?
I'm good, bro. Just, having fun, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, I really appreciate that that little collage you did. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah, no problem, bro. Well, congrats on getting that offer accepted. That's pretty sweet. And, it's, I don't always have time to create those ads and do that kind of stuff, but I want to try to be better about it just to help out, because we're all focused on trying to put business together,
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, but it's, I pulled a few of them from Brivity, what Yvette had showed me with Brivity Marketer, and it's cool because they got some pre-designed ads. What's up? Look at you with your Veteran Home Services.
Wow.
You like that?
Yeah. Professional.
I know, looks clean. I gotta change my background. You can see probably some underwear back there. And
That is exactly why I did it. Man, my room's a mess.
Looks good.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
Right.
How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Well, just doing fantastic.
Awesome.
Good.
Well, I appreciate you guys hopping on here, and I know we're going to try our best to keep it to the hour. It looks like Amy's joining right now too. So,
Thank God.
Yeah.
Another lady.
Got another lady. We got two more. We got Leslie coming in.
Perfect.
The ladies are late today, other than Yvette, huh? Good morning.
I'm always on time.
No, you're good. Usually it's the other way around. Usually it's those guys that are 5 minutes late. So it's kind of nice,
How do I show the picture?
You should have the little video icon like next to your mic.
It always
I
off,
see.
Yeah,
I see.
where it doesn't. How you doing, Amy?
Good. Hold on 1 second.
Morning, Leslie.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So I guess before we get going, and we're going to talk a little bit about it before we jump into, I got a few videos I want to check out together as a team. I just accessed the Mike Ferry Vault, which is pretty cool because it's got all these videos that he's recorded in the past. Does everybody sound okay? I'm seeing eyes looking up and all kinds of interesting facial expressions right now. So, is there something?
I was looking at an email, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. It looks like you were seeing something floating in your room or some type of experience that we all need to know about.
Yeah, I won't be disclosing that today.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I guess before we get rolling though, any wins? I know I gave props to Danny getting his offer accepted. Congrats on getting your VA buyers accepted out of 12 offers. You want to share a little bit about what happened with that?
Yeah, so it's weird. This particular property, there's tenants in it, and they weren't really being cooperative as far as allowing them to show the property. And So it was on the market for 14 days before they even received any offers, which is crazy in this market. And so finally they were, the tenants were allowing, the buyers to go look at the property. And so on Saturday, actually my buyers and I were the first ones to actually see the property. And then, by the way, actually, they did receive an offer, but it was a lowball offer on the first week that the property was on the market. But it was super low. They just didn't even entertain it. And anyways, so on Saturday, I went to go look at the property with my clients, and they absolutely fell in love with it. And it's funny. It's funny because of the market. It seems like the buyers are settling now, right? It seems like because they really can't get offers accepted and there's not a lot of inventory. So it seems like their taste is kind of got lowered a little bit. But and the only reason why I say that is because my clients, their tastes were pretty high. And then now that some of these properties that we're looking, they're not really the best, but they're like, okay, we're going to take it anyways. But nonetheless, this property showed well. They loved it. And so we actually hit it up with the seller. The seller, she was the owner of the property. She was a realtor. And so she actually hit it up with my client because my client actually went there with his uniform. And I guess her husband works for the military. And anyways, they hit it off. I was really happy about that. And so we submitted an offer. And by Sunday, they had, I think, 7 offers. And then yesterday, they had a total of 12 offers. And they had 2 offers that were $10,000 more than us. The sale of the price or the list price was $750,000. We first made an offer at $765 with 5 back. And they counter us to basically give them our best and final. And in the end, they received 2 offers at $785, clean offers, 30%. Ours was VA, $775 with no closing costs. So my buyers decided not to actually include the closing costs with it. But what sold it was the letter. My clients submitted a sentimental letter, very detailed, and they loved it. And I think that was a selling point for us. But one of the issues was that they countered us at 3% deposit of the sale price. My clients didn't have that money. And I basically called her up and said, hey, listen, you're not familiar with VA. VA buyers are no money down. And she wasn't. She had no idea how the VA loans were structured and how it was processed. So I kind of educated her, and I basically said, hey, these are VA buyers. They don't have that kind of money. Basically 25% down payment for the deposit. That's not going to happen. Look, we want the house, bottom line, but we're not going to do it. The best they can do is $5,000. And she agreed.
Wow.
But, in the end, I think it all boiled down to the relationship because they kind of got $10,000 more, right? And the fact that I got along with her, she loved my buyers, and they're a good, family. And not only that, I kept telling her about the appraisal situation because when I ran the comps, there was 2 properties that sold for $780,000 within the same specs of the property. But yeah, there was a house that sold in their neighborhood not too long ago for $755,000. So the appraiser was going to look at that. And I was a little concerned, but yeah, so I told her, I go, listen, you're going to get all these offers, 785, 790, but you're going to have appraisal issues regardless of how strong their financing is. Unless they're going to go above and beyond the appraised value and they're going to pay that money, then you don't have a problem, but you don't know that. And, at 775, I think we're solid. I think it's going to appraise. I even showed her the comps, and she wasn't really that experienced as a realtor. It seemed like she had a lot of questions about a lot of things. She really felt like, I don't know. I was really shocked that she was asking me some of these questions that were like basic, but nonetheless, yeah, we got our offer accepted, and we're actually signing off on it right now. So
Cool.
That's what happened.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing it. Congrats on doing that. And you hit on a couple key points. One being in negotiation, you always want to find out what the other side knows and when they know it, right? So you talked about appraisals, you talked about comps, you talked about some very important conversation, and we don't always have that opportunity every time we're writing on our property to have that type of lengthy discussion. And you said that you had some pretty good conversation with her. So It sounds like you asked a lot of questions, got a lot of information from her in terms of what they were looking for. Obviously, it was an emotional connection of where they made the final decision. It wasn't always about getting the highest and best offer, even though they countered highest and best offer. So we presume that you have to have the highest, right? So no, that was key in a lot of different ways. But I think what it sounds like you did a really good job of, and you mentioned that she did know a lot of different things, that can be used to your advantage. It doesn't always happen that way, but what she wants to do is she's interviewing you as a buyer's agent. Is this the type of agent that can get it done, that can help me through the process and give me somebody that I want to work with, right? Or is this somebody who's kind of talking down to me and making me feel like I don't know what I'm talking about? You know, they're looking at that and they're evaluating that. So it sounds like you did a great job of connecting with her, selling to her, as well as asking a lot of questions first. So it's a great segue into it. Welcome, Anthony, you know, and everybody that's here today. So what I had in mind today, and just let me know if you guys have any questions about the process. And before we jump into what I want to share with you, what is your guys' understanding of the listing presentation? Well, number one, just raise a hand. Who feels they have an amazing listing presentation that will take every listing every single time they go on a presentation? They're at 100% conversion or 99.999% conversion. Does anybody want to raise their hand that's mastered the listing presentation?
I'm going to turn off my computer right now.
Does anybody want to work on their listing presentation? Raise a hand.
That's a better question.
All right, cool. Well, that's what I was hoping for. All right. So what is the listing presentation? When does the listing presentation begin? And if anybody knows the answer, just feel free to start talking. When does the listing presentation begin? When does it start?
The first conversation.
Absolutely. First conversation. Tell us a little bit more about that. What is the first conversation, Dusty?
Well, you know, real estate, it's all about relationships, right? So, and it's about connecting with your client and them feeling comfortable with you. And it's almost like what you were saying with when you're talking with a listing agent, you know, you have to be really in tune to the conversation and trying to relate to them, and you don't want to talk down to them. You don't want to. You want to probe on what is important to them. Why are they doing it? Where are they going? You know, almost try to best to tap into their emotional side about it, and then do your best to make that a goal to nurture that and make sure that you're going to protect that, and then go from there. At least that's what I try to do.
Yeah. No,
Hey, Brandon, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Sorry, I was going to say something in regards to what he was saying, but I got to get this. This is my client. Okay.
All right. I muted you. All right, cool. No, nice job, Dusty. That was on point. And you hit on a lot of key aspects with that, especially in terms of when you said probing. One thing that anybody who's been around me enough times, we're not going to talk about probing, but we'll talk about discovery, right? Finding information. How good are you at getting information? And how do we get information? What do we do to get information, Leslie?
To ask a lot of questions.
Okay. Ask questions. That's great. What does asking questions do? And so when you're first, we'll just say, so Dusty talked about relationships. What if you don't have a relationship with them? What if they're a brand new person that somehow you got their name and number, or somehow you ran into them at the supermarket and start striking up a good conversation? What does that conversation sound like? And what if they tell you that they own a house and they're thinking about moving? Where does the conversation go from there?
Well, you get to have a natural conversation like you would with anyone that you want to get to know. You just ask them questions and build rapport to then be able to kind of understand what questions you need to be asking and figure out what their situation is so that you can mold your presentation to fit their needs and wants. And then ultimately you get comfortable enough to ask them, hey, so what are you looking for in an agent, the agent that you look to hire? But of course, that's kind of towards the end.
That's awesome. No, and that's a very important question. So great job, Leslie. So if you had to break the listing presentation down to multiple parts, right? And there's different parts that we're going to master in it. What's the first part of the listing presentation, Leslie?
Tap. So think.
Well, that's actually when you get into the presentation, right? Which is correct. That's your intro, right? And we're gonna cover the tap. What is tap? Just go ahead and share it since you've touched on it.
Think, acknowledge, and promise.
Think, acknowledge, and promise. Okay. So this is the actual formal listing presentation. When we start it with somebody, you're going to start with tap. That's think, acknowledge, and promise. And where I'm trying to get to is even before you meet face to face. So that's when you've actually set the appointment. You're going there face to face. You're presenting to them. You're prepared. What do you do before the actual listing presentation? So the presentation is definitely, I would say, towards the middle of the presentation, right? When you're actually there face to face. And Dusty kind of hit on the first part of it, which is that very first interaction. What's that first interaction? What do we want to accomplish during that first interaction?
You're building trust.
Building trust. Great job, Yvette. But what's it called? What's the
discovery? What'd you say?
Pre-qual, and it is discovery. So when you guys hear pre-qualification, the first thing that most people think of is pre-qual with a loan officer, right? That's where we hear pre-qualification. But what a pre-qualification is what Yvette just said. It's discovery. So discovery, in being that it's a list of questions that you have from the very first conversation, as Dusty said, that you have with somebody that you're going to tap into, and you're going to find out as much as you can in terms of their motivation, their timing, what their needs, their wants are on an emotional level, why this is important to them, so we can tap into that. What kind of objections are they going to have, right? I was just listening to Mike Ferry. So what I started saying is it's actually pretty cheap. It's like a one-time $30 fee. If you go to mikeferry.com, it's called The Vault. And anybody who wants to get a head start on watching videos, mindset, understanding all the different parts of the process without having to pay $1,000 a month to be a coaching client, right? You want to access The Vault. I just did it. So I'm going to share some of that today. We're going to hear the whole listing, not the whole listing presentation. We're going to hear the first step, the pre-qualification. So I emailed everybody the script. And when most people look at the script, they're like, oh God, here we go. It's the script. It feels awkward. I would never ask these questions. Who the hell would ask, if when we get together on Friday and you feel confident and comfortable that I can list your home, do you plan to list your home with me? Who would start a pre-qualification, very first interaction, very first question with, do you plan to list your home with me when we get together on Friday at 5? Definitely not me. I haven't done it once, right? I have not asked that question one time yet. Doesn't mean that I shouldn't strive to get there. And anybody that knows me knows if I have a conversation with somebody in a listing presentation, it's typically going to be about an hour, right? Hour and a half minimum. And for me, that's a good conversation where I've done a lot of discovery. I've created a lot of value, and I've done it. These guys who are mastering this listing presentation, they're in and out 20, 30 minutes, and they got the listing. So who do you think's better? The one who can do it in 20, 30 minutes and be very effective and efficient and have a clear plan and lead them through the process and get a signed listing agreement? They have one called the 1-minute listing presentation, which seems impossible again. But that's going to be somebody like Dusty said, that you have a relationship that already likes you, already trusts you, already knows you're good at what you're going to do. They already know they want you to hire them. So why am I going to put them through an hour and a half presentation just for the sake of doing my entire presentation? This gets into the chapter on closing, or the section of closing to get that signed agreement. So what Tom Hopkins talks about, and what he says is, everybody who's mastered a presentation wants to go through their entire presentation. Oh, I got the most beautiful listing presentation. You got to hear it from the very beginning to the end. No. You want to sign? No, you can't sign yet. I got to finish my presentation, right? And he's joking about that, I got this amazing, all these photos, all this beautiful material. We got to go through everything. I got to give you the whole show. We're not just going to sign this agreement here. I need to make sure you've seen it all because I got this. That's not what it's about. What this is about is a good conversation. And I know Anthony, working in sales for quite some time, Anthony probably out of all of us has the most sales experience in a short period of time. And the reason why I say that, he's worked with Lexus, with DCH for some time. He's been highly successful at a very young age with doing it, but he's had more interaction with more people. And it is, I can't say it's still direct sales, but Mike Ferry will differentiate direct sales. Direct sales is more so of you having to go out there and find the buyers and the sellers. But I know in my first sales job, working with cell phone sales, where they came to me, I would talk to 15, 20 people every single day. Every single day, 15 to 20 people. I only had a 2-page contract I had to get them to sign. Imagine if that's all we had for real estate. 2-page contract that was very easy, very straight to the point. It's like, here you go. And if you change your mind, guess what? You can get a new cell phone another year from now. And there really aren't that many consequences, right? And then the other part of me thought, was like, who the heck needs a cell phone? Everybody's got a cell phone, right? But what you would find out when I learned through that process is there's something that people aren't happy with their current phone or their current provider. Our job was to discover that. Our job was to ask questions so we could find out what really pissed them off about their current situation. And that was called a hot button. And you ask that question. You're tired of dropping calls? You got Verizon. You got the best service provider. You're spending $70, $80 a month. Supposed to be the best network out there, but you can't make a phone call at your parents' house? Oh, that's horrible, right? Tell me a little bit more about that. I'm pressing the button. They're getting pissed off. I think they're like, this is some bullshit. I'm spending this kind of money, right? And the reason why I bring this up is this is all sales. It's understanding. It's asking questions. It's discovery. I'm not saying to piss off your sellers when you talk to them and get them pissed off about what their situation is. But there's probably something about their house that they don't like. There's probably something that they want to change. We have to be good in asking questions in a way that doesn't seem like we're just trying to push that. The hot button could be for something good, or it could be for something bad. And for the good side of it, it could be something like, so tell me a little bit about what your dream house looks like. You found the perfect house, right? I know you're happy with where you're currently at, but you mentioned to me before something about the beach. Tell me a little bit more about that. Oh, yes, I would love to live by the beach. Okay. So the very first part of this whole process is called the pre-qualification. That's what we're going to jump on. So I'm going to hop onto it right now without giving any more intro. Good job. I wanted to engage everybody first instead of just putting a video on here. And we're going to go straight to that Mike Ferry vault that I was telling you about. So if you guys have it in front of you, this is the pre-qual script. Do you guys have that on your email, or can you see it on the screen? If you can see it on the screen, we'll go through it really quick.
I have it.
You guys got it?
Got it.
You got it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this together. And this
Oh,
is going to
super.
feel very awkward and uncomfortable. And it works out perfectly with, if you're doing Think and Grow Rich, chapter 4, it's on auto-suggestion. Very short chapter. When he talks about auto-suggestion, we're programming our subconscious mind. You have your conscious mind and your subconscious. And I'm glad that I'm rereading it because now I can articulate it a little bit better. Your subconscious mind is protected by your conscious mind. What I mean by that is, it was brought up the other day of, okay, all these negative forces or influences seem to come over so easily, but it's hard to stay positive. How do we protect that? How do we protect? And we have the choice with our conscious mind to protect what's going into our subconscious mind. We have the choice to decide, am I going to let this negative thing that just happened impact me and piss me off? Or can I block it and focus on something positive, right? When we do these scripts, when you try to internalize these scripts, you have to say it loud. You got to say it with enthusiasm, not just read it. It's called coloring. It's coloring the vibrations that are going to your subconscious mind. That's why in church, some people will sing, our priest actually sings the message, right? And I was talking to my mom about it. I said, why do you think he does that? And she was like, oh, well, I just think that's his style. I said, no, he's coloring the vibrations that are going to your subconscious mind. So to get back onto this, when we do this, we're going to read, I don't know if anybody's read through this yet, but we're going to read through it once out loud together, okay? It's going to feel awkward, I'm telling you right now. Just read it loud. We'll probably, if you want, everybody mute themselves. I'll leave myself unmuted, so it's just not hearing a lot of echoing. And we're going to read through it one time loud. Then after we do it, and I'll feel awkward and be like, oh my God, what did we just put ourselves through on that, right? After we do that, then we're going to hear the pros do this presentation. And you're going to hear this guy, and he's going to have more questions. So if you got your journal or if you got your computer to type notes up, I want you to write down the questions he hits on, because he's going to overcome the objections of somebody who's interviewing more than one agent. He's going to come over commission and pricing objections. You're going to see how he's mastered the pre-qual script. So the key with the pre-qual script is to get the answers for the test. The test is the listing presentation. That's when you show up. That's when all the money is on the line, whether they sign with you or sign with somebody else. So you want to get the answers to the test before you take the test. You don't want to go into that blindly and just think, oh, well, you know, I'm pretty good at reading people and figuring out on the spot. And I'm just good, and I'm smooth, and I'm going to connect with them, and just they're going to list with me because I'm the best thing since sliced bread. We're not going to bank on that, okay? I'll tell you firsthand experience. I've missed more lately than I've gotten off of that overconfidence. So what I got to do when I miss something and I miss a listing, I got to dig deeper and see, what did I do wrong? This is the science. This is the fundamentals right here, okay? So let's jump into it. So on the ... we're just going to pause. When on this first blank, it's going to say when we're going to do the listing appointment. We're going to say Friday at 3 o'clock, okay? So let's just start right here off the top, and we're going to say it out loud. And if you guys, so we got asked to unmute. We got everybody muted but myself. You guys have probably been talking this whole time, and I haven't even heard anything. So, all right, let's go. Ready? Before I come out, there are a number of questions I need to ask you, okay? If what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list your home with me when I come out on Friday at 3 o'clock? Are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your home? Tell me again, where are you moving to? How soon do you have to be there? When I see you, how much do you want to list your home for? As a professional real estate agent, I study homes and prices every day. Therefore, I assume you'll list with me at a price that will cause your home to sell, correct? So what price won't you go below? How much do you owe on the property? Have you ever thought about selling it yourself? Will you help finance the home for the buyer, or do you want your cash out? Would you please describe your home for me? I'll be sending over a package of information. Will you take a few moments and review it? Do you have any questions before I arrive? So you know, our meeting should only take between 5 and 25 minutes. Is that okay? I look forward to seeing you on Friday at 3 o'clock. All right. Nice job, everybody. I heard everybody in unison. That was perfect, perfect enthusiasm. I'm joking. I didn't hear anybody say anything, so you guys probably just listened to me the whole time.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know if I'm getting ahead of you or what, but I don't understand number 7 and 8. Like, why would you ask that?
Number 7 and 8. Great
Yeah.
question. And actually, that was the exact same response I had. I was sitting next to Charlene at one of these Mike Ferry summits, and she was like, "Why would you ask if they're thinking about selling it themselves?" She was like, "You know, like that sounds ridiculous."
Right.
And a lot of people initially feel that way. What you're trying to do, every one of these questions has a purpose, and every question is trying to either convince them that they need a professional. So you can't be afraid of whatever the answer is. We're trying to discover objections of why they're going to hesitate to work with you, or you want them to say, yes, no, I'm not going to sell it myself. I have no clue what I'm doing. I want to hire a professional. That's why I called you up. So that's why we're asking that question. The question is, and if they are thinking about selling it themselves and they say, yes, I am, what does that tell you about them? Is their motivation very high and sincere that they're interviewing you for the job? No, right? The answer is, if they're thinking about selling it themselves, why would I call Dusty or Yvette or Leslie or Amy to interview you for the job if I'm planning on selling it myself? Why would I do that?
Brendan, I have a question for you.
I know, but real quick, before that, why would
Well,
I do
I
that?
feel like if you're going to call, you're trying to get information so you know how to do it yourself.
Exactly. You're not sincerely interested in listing with Yvette, Leslie, or anybody else, right?
Oh,
Well, all we're doing is I'm trying to find out from the pros, what do you think I should price my house at? What would you do to sell my house, right? After I get all the information, now I'm going to try to sell it myself. So that's why we ask that question. It's not something, to be blunt with you, Amy, I rarely ask it, right? But to get good at this, we should ask all these questions. We should stay to this script, and it will help us become better and increase our conversion ratio. If we're at 50% to 75%, up to 90%, and eventually getting to that 70 to 90% range, which is phenomenal if you can do that, okay? So there's a purpose for all of them. The number 8 is, will you help finance the home for the buyer, or do you want to cash out? The reason for that question, the only part I can understand with it, because I've never heard anybody say, yes, I want to finance the home for a buyer. What that is a seller carryback. And actually, I've heard it once or twice in my career.
I've seen it once.
Yeah, right. So where somebody struggled with selling their property, and they're like, well, I don't want to drop the price, but I'll do a carryback. I've heard somebody else say, I'll take Bitcoin. I'm like, what? I'll take Bitcoin. Advertise that. That's the way of the future. That's real estate for the future is Bitcoin. This was, no offense, Anthony, it was a car sales guy that told me that. And I'm just like, dude, bro, drop the price, man. We can try to offer cotton candy here. It ain't going to happen at this price. Like, we need to drop the price. Bitcoin's not going to change it. Yes, sir.
I don't mean to interrupt, but real quick, just in like a few sentences, how do you describe a carryback? What's a scenario? Give me an example.
So seller carryback is where, say a buyer, so you're trying to sell a house for $500,000. The
Okay.
buyer can only qualify for $400K. Say it's the tenant that lives in the property. The buyer can only qualify for $400,000. So the bank would do the note for the $400K, and then the other $100,000 would be a personal note that's directly to the seller on an interest rate that's got to be a fair interest rate. So you're just going to drop, like, think of a first and a second. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a note directly to the seller.
And then the buyer will then pay the seller every month for that?
Correct. Well, however it's structured. But yeah, it would be, just think of like a loan term. Typically, it's going to be a shorter period of time, different interest rate, because it's, the buyer can't qualify for that full $500K.
Yeah, and then obviously you get escrow to facilitate that, right?
Correct. So escrow would help you with that. I've done something where Lacey Lou Johnson with Chicago, she was able to help draw something up for us for one of our clients. So it's there are people out there, but that's what that question is. So
and then Brandon, on that, and then correct me if I'm wrong, and then if the buyer defaults ever, that means the seller carrying the note has first right to take over the property, correct?
I believe so. If they have 2 loans though, if they got a first, so say they got a mortgage for $400K, and then they got the seller that they're doing the carryback, I don't know who takes right. If I had to give, if I had to go with my gut, I would actually say probably the first mortgage, but who knows? It could be, it depends on how they structure it, where they could actually put the seller's position higher than that first mortgage. I just don't know if a first mortgage would be willing to do that or not. So I couldn't tell you exactly that every time, yes, that seller would get the right to it, but there is a strong chance that that's the case, Dusty.
Okay. And then Amy and Brandon, getting back to number 7, for me, I would feel this is a great question in that small percentage that, especially me, I really want to start doing this. And then you're in that mindset, and then say you didn't ask that question, and then you get to the appointment, and then they drop the bomb on you of, well, we're thinking about selling it ourselves and doing a for sale by owner.
Right.
And that, for me, and just speaking of me, would throw me in a loop. Yep. Right. So everything I'm mentally prepared with that I think that the appointment's going to go, that could knock me off my track.
Right.
Whether it maybe the look on my face maybe shows it upsets me. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud of how it would affect me, throwing me off my track if I didn't ask that question and that bomb was dropped on me last minute.
So you would see the benefit in doing a phone call before your actual presentation and finding out ahead of time that they're considering selling it themselves, correct?
Right. Like I'd want to know up front if that's a thought in there at all for them, so I'm prepared, versus thinking, oh, okay, we had a great conversation, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get this, and then you get there and they're like, Yeah, I'm thinking about selling it myself though, and then everything I have scripted in my mind just gets
That's
throws me off.
No,
Right.
you hit it on the head, and that's exactly why you do the pre-qual ahead of time, why you ask tough questions ahead of time. And just so you know, before you would start this out, and that's why it says, before I come out, there are a number of questions I need to ask you, okay? So the way the process would go is, first we're prospecting. We prospect, we find out that we got somebody who would like us to come over and preview their house on Friday. Just check it out, come check it out. I don't want a formal presentation. I'm in no rush. I just want you to tell me what my house is worth, right? So you set that up for Friday. Or they say, I am going to sell my house. I want to interview you and come out Friday at 3 o'clock. Does that work for you? Absolutely, it does. This is on Monday. So now the part of the process with the Mike Ferry is to actually drop off a pre-listing package, which I haven't done, but I'm going to start implementing that into my presentation. That pre-listing package has a few things. It actually has the contract, your listing agreement with the commission and the price already in it, which John Seid admitted to me he doesn't put the price in there because he feels that's the most important thing to discuss face-to-face with them, and that you could kill it before you even get there.
Mhm.
But what we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to streamline the process and set ourselves apart from the competition. So he has a list of references of names and phone numbers of past clients that have already, done business with you. So they can already call ahead of time before you even meet them and talk to your past clients that you've successfully helped. He's also got, it's not about me. And this is what Mike Ferry talks about. He's like, it's not 25 pages about how great I am. But what you do is you have the listing agreement. He actually includes disclosure paperwork also in there, because he wants them, if they can, to pre-fill that disclosure paperwork even before you show up to the listing presentation. Just think, if somebody was willing to do that before you showed up, you think you got a pretty good shot at getting that listing? So what has happened in the past is they've actually done the pre-listing package so well, did the pre-qual script so well, that one agent showed up to the door slightly got opened up, and the guy's like, oh, this ain't a good sign, right? I'm supposed to do my listing presentation. He's barely opening the door. He hands the package back to him, shuts the door. Doesn't say anything. Just hands it back to the agent and shuts the door. The agent's like, okay, knocks on the door again, like, are we going to do the presentation? He's like, I've already signed the contract. We'll get started on Monday. Shuts the door. Everything's done. It's a done deal before he even did the presentation, right? Because it was done the way it should have been done off the pre-qual, the discovery, the professionalism, and this is what's going to set us apart. It's not about high pressure sales. It's about asking questions to discover the objections. And the one point I want to make on the pre-qual when you're practicing this, because this is what I want to focus on while we role play. And just so you know, in case anybody new to the team doesn't know, each one of the agents here has a role play partner, at least one or two that they pick once a week or however often you want to meet up, and just practice for 15 or 30 minutes a morning, right? And just pick it. So if you guys haven't done that, share information with each other, set up a role play partner. I'd recommend at least doing it once or twice a week. You don't have to do it 5 times a week. If you want to, go ahead. But start practicing this script, because this script is going to be your bread and butter to taking listings. Then after that, you're also going to use a lot of these questions for buyers as well. And you'll see what I'm talking about. It's the same process. You master the listing side, you're going to also be very strong with the buyer side. It's all about great communication, asking great questions, and listening. If somebody tells you, okay, I'm thinking about selling it myself, your job on this pre-qual call is not to convince them that you're the agent that they need to list with you. I'm going to say that again, and not to be repetitive. It's very important to understand this concept. My job is not to fight them on why that is a stupid idea that they're thinking about selling it themselves, right? You can never make the client wrong. You can never make them feel uncomfortable. We have to repeat and affirm what they're saying. We have to acknowledge what they're saying, not argue with them. All we're trying to do is discover any hurdles we may have when we go and take the test. So when we go to the listing presentation, we already know they're thinking about selling it themselves. Why would they think about selling it themselves? To save money on commission. Commission's going to be my biggest hurdle, right? Price is probably going to be a hurdle as well. That's what this discovery tells you. What hurdles am I going to have to overcome? And if I can overcome them and create the value, then they will see and understand that I'm the one to list their home. That's why we ask these questions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Don't make them wrong. Don't argue with them. Don't try to convince them. What do you mean you're thinking about selling it yourself right now? That is a horrible idea. Do you want me to tell you? If you do that on the phone, they're going to hang up, or you're not going to see them on that Friday. So what you tell them, if they say, thinking about selling the home myself, say, really, you know what? If I were you, I'd do the same thing too. Or if I were you, I would think that may be the best option too. You know what's funny, Danny, is actually when I went to go sell our property on Prairie View, I thought in my head, I don't want to pay another agent a commission of 2.5%. I could sell it myself and save on all the commission. I would share that with the for sale by owner. Why would I share that with the for sale by owner? Anybody?
Putting all the cards on the table.
Putting it on the table, you're being real. I'm not on there trying to convince them that that's a stupid idea. I'm acknowledging what they're saying. Hey, that's a sound idea. Let's talk a little bit more about that. And as I don't shoot that person down on the other side, what do you think that does to them?
They're going to be a little bit more receptive, right?
Absolutely.
Creates trust.
Creates trust. They start endearing towards you because you're not trying to make them wrong.
Correct.
You're accepting whatever it is that they think, whether right, wrong, doesn't matter. You're unconditionally accepting them. And you're not trying to convince them otherwise, right? All our goal on this, just like a doctor does when they do their intake sheet to diagnose what your situation is, they're asking questions and you're just filling out the answers and you're going through it like a professional, like a doctor does before an appointment, like an attorney does before they're going to try to diagnose what the situation is. This is how you become a true professional in this business. Okay. It sounds like something that Mike Ferry would want you to pay thousands of dollars just to brainwash you to try to get all that crap out of your head. Because number one, none of us has to pay anything. All we have to do is open up to what could help us. And there's a science behind this. It's been studied for over 40 years. The objections have not changed. And the better that we get in handling that very first phone call, the better we're going to get to killing it on that listing presentation. Not just feeling like it went good, but knowing that we executed from A to Z the perfect presentation. And if they decide to go elsewhere, then hey, hands down, hey, I gave it everything that I had. But I'm still just me. I'm still going to want to know, okay, what could I have done differently? What could I have perfected or done a little bit better? And I'm telling you right now, it's not a snazzy flyer, brochure, or anything else. It's this conversation. So let's jump into it. I know we got 20 minutes to watch the video. So we're just going to watch the intro to it. So let me pop over to the video, see if I can find it here. So this is called The Vault. Mike Ferry, The Vault, shows the listing presentation here. And his intro video is good, but I've already hit on enough of it for us to get started with it. These are all different audio recordings that you can listen to on the listing presentation. I actually saw these 3 live in person, and it was phenomenal. They tell you no recording, and you know me, I record everything, right? And I'm recording the audio version of this. And Danielle remembers hearing it on the way back from Vegas to hearing it, but it's so much better on this video. So for $30, I believe it's unlimited access to all this stuff. I haven't seen anything that says like $30 a year. It was just a one-time payment and gives me access to the vault. So we're going to listen to this here, and you're going to see an example.
David Van Oy, okay, is the husband.
He does the entire presentation from beginning to end, from the pre-qual to talking about the pre-listing package, then actually doing the presentation. The whole thing takes 35 minutes. We're not going to do all of it. We're just going to do the beginning part of it, the pre-qual. So you guys can see an example of the script and then know after we finish this why we're going to practice the script with enthusiasm and try to master it. Okay. You guys ready? Any questions before I jump into it?
Yeah. Hey, just an FYI, I have an appointment at 11:20, so about 11-ish, I'm going to get off the call.
No worries. And that's our goal, is to be done at 11. And we're going to record this too, and I'll share it onto our group page. So if you need me to text it to you, if you got to cut out early, it's all good.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Any other questions or points? We good? All right, let's get rolling.
And the wife is Vicki Clark Jennings. So let's invite out the husband and wife first, okay?
Can you guys hear it okay? You good?
Well, wait, hold it. typical Eastern guy. He walks out in front of his wife like this, right? It's always the ladies first. Hello, Miss Vicky. How are you, sweetie? I'm gonna smack you once for walking out in front of your wife. What the heck? Okay, now George to do something a little different. George is fanatically going to follow everything we teach. So George will pre-qualify, which we'll do in a moment. Then George will have the pre-listing package sent, which they'll receive. And then he'll do that follow-up call, which I know, obviously Hal, and I know that, who was yesterday? Vicky would always do, okay? I know you would do that, but he wants to demonstrate that also. So George, are you ready behind the stage?
I'm ready, Mike.
George, are you alive?
I'm here.
Okay, good. And Vicky, are you going to be the one answering the phone?
Yes.
So watch, yesterday and the day before, you guys were really good because you did not spend a lot of time laughing. So try to hold it down, listen, and learn. So Mr. George Graham is going to pre-qualify this seller.
Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Is this Vicky?
Yes, this is she.
Hey, Vicky. This is George with John L. Scott. How are you?
I'm great, George. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Hey, Vicky, in preparation for our appointment on Saturday, I have a number of questions to ask you. Is now a good time?
Sure.
Okay, great. If what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning on listing it with me when I see you on Saturday?
Well, George, we've actually, we've met with an agent from Zillow, and we are kind of leaning in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have one more interview after you as well.
Okay. All right. Well, it certainly sounds like you're making an effort to find the right agent, and I definitely respect that. That being said, we are used to the competitive nature of listing property, and just really confident that you're going to see the value in what we do. Okay.
Okay.
So, Vicky, tell me then, what specifically are you looking for in your next agent?
Well, obviously this isn't the first home that we've sold. We've had a few bad experiences in the past. So what David and I really want to know is what you think our home is worth.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to choose someone who knows our neighborhood.
Okay, good. So somebody who, knows the idiosyncrasies of your neighborhood and has a real pulse on pricing. Is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. Well, Vicky, I'm going to be sending you a pre-listing package. In it, we'll have a step-by-step process of how we sold just under 4,000 homes last year. That's the most of any company in the area. Did you know that?
Wow. No, I didn't. That's great.
And in that package as well, Vicky, I'm going to have a market analysis for you so you have a sense of how much your home is worth. I'm also going to include a net sheet so you can see what you'd net based on that recommended price. And then I'll also include a list of references, some people that have used us recently and have given us feedback on our service. Okay.
Okay.
And then in addition, just because I know it's something important to you, I'm going to include a snapshot of homes that I've sold personally in your neighborhood, so you can get a sense of our presence there. Okay.
Yeah, that will actually be great because David will really want to see that.
Okay. Great. Now, Vicky, knowing that you're going to be interviewing other agents, we do have the ability to pull report cards off the MLS for these other agents that you're considering, and I can bring those with me if you want me to. Would you like to know how effective or not those other agents are that you're considering?
Yes, that would be great if you could do that. I'd really like to see who is selling what.
Sure. So, Vicky, tell me then, who are these other two agents?
Well, a fellow by the name of Bob Smith, and then an agent by the name of Sally Peterson.
Okay. And Vicky, how do you happen to know Bob and Sally?
Well, David made contact with Bob through Zillow, and Sally and I actually used to work together.
Ah, okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
So, Vicky, tell me, do you feel compelled to meet with everybody before you make your decision, or will you be going with your gut once you feel like you found the right one?
No, I'll decide as soon as I feel like we found the right one.
Okay, great. So, Vicky, let's shift gears a little bit. Can you tell me, where are you moving to when the home sells?
Sure, we're moving to San Diego.
Wow, San Diego, that's a big move.
Mm-hmm.
What's taking you to San Diego?
We'd like to be closer to family. And, and obviously want to get away from all the rain here where we live.
Gotcha. Well, I certainly understand that. Now, Vicky, is there any timeline that I should know about as far as how soon you need to be in San Diego?
Yes, we would like to be there no later than the end of October. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds like a pretty specific window of time. Can you tell me, Vicki, what's important about the end of October?
Well, I have a niece that is getting married in November, and I'm part of the wedding party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we obviously would like to be moved and settled prior to Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Okay. Understood. Well, here's the thing, Vicki. I'm definitely confident that I can get you there on time. Okay.
So what are you guys hearing so far from this? Is anybody following the pre-listing or the pre-qual script?
Yes. Yes, actually, he's touched up on a lot of it, but he's also adding a lot of his own, questions as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's does it sound robotic at all? Does it
No.
sound scripted?
No.
Would you, if you were on the other side of this, what would your feelings or thoughts? Would you feel like he's being pushy, or any negative feelings from the conversation so far?
None at
No.
all.
He doesn't seem defensive, right?
Nope.
Yep.
No, he sounds very seasoned and confident in what he does for a living.
Exactly.
Cool. Biggest thing is I want you to see how the script is the skeleton. It's kind of your main points, but listen to what he does after every question. He digs deeper, right? He's truly trying to get as much until they open up and just start sharing. And if they ever get to that where they just keep sharing and sharing, you let them talk, right? You let them tell you everything that they can. That's what these questions are designed to do. Get them to tell you their story. I know Leslie says it all the time with the pro agent leads when she's doing internet lead prospecting. She gets them to tell them what their story is. That's what the questions are geared to do. So then he doesn't just take their surface answer. He digs deeper. He tries to get to that level of emotion. So tell me why you need to be in San Diego specifically. Sounds very specific that you need to be there by a specific time. Tell me a little bit more about that. That's key. Most agents will go from one question to the next and never dig deep. They just take that surface answer. You're not getting anything. So dig deep. It's what this guy does so well. Okay? So let's keep it going.
Okay, great.
Vicki, as a side note, do you guys have an agent lined up yet in San Diego for your purchase?
No, not yet. You know, David, again, he was on Zillow doing some research for that area as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, here's the thing, Vicki. You guys don't need to blindly choose an agent like that. I'm a member of a professional real estate network called the Mike Ferry Organization, and it's the network of top agents across the nation. And I can certainly reach out, get you guys connected with a great candidate in San Diego, and that way, we are confident that you're working with somebody that's competent. Would you like me to do that?
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'll make a note of that, and we'll be sure we get you connected. Now, Vicki, when I see you, how much do you want to list your home for realistically?
Well, Zillow says that our home is worth around 400, but, obviously, since our home is the best home in the neighborhood, we're really thinking around 415.
Gotcha. Well, Vicki, as a professional real estate agent, I do study homes and prices every day, and I assume you're going to list your home with me at a price that's going to cause it to sell so that you could be in San Diego by the end of October, correct?
Yes, I'm absolutely ready to sell it. David doesn't quite see the urgency as I do.
Okay, well, tell me a little bit more about that. What is it that David's thinking?
Well, David would like to get every penny out of this home.
Mm-hmm.
And I am more interested in getting a fair price and moving on.
Gotcha. Well, here's the thing, Vicki. When we get together on Saturday, we can discuss this, and I can help you find a good balance between market time as well as getting you the most we can. Okay?
Okay.
Great. Now, Vicki, have you and David discussed how much? You and Vicki, David, have you guys discussed what price you won't go below?
Yes. We are not willing to go below 400.
400. Okay. Well, I can certainly appreciate that, Vicki, and I can assure you that we'll do all we can to get you as much as we can. Okay?
Okay, good.
Great. Now, Vicki, how much do you guys currently owe at this time?
I think we owe around 200.
200. Okay. Well, sounds like you have some solid equity there, so congratulations on that. Vicki, have you guys ever thought about selling the home yourself?
We have thought about that, and we've talked about it. We actually had a neighbor approach us.
Mm-hmm.
However, I really just don't feel like we have the time at this point.
Yeah. Well, you certainly have a short window of time there, and but statistically speaking, Vicki, by hiring a professional real estate agent, you should be able to sell your home faster as well as net more money in the long run. So I certainly think you're making a wise choice there.
Yes, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And have you guys ever discussed financing the home for the buyer, or are you just wanting to get completely cashed out?
No, we absolutely have to have our cash out. San Diego is much more expensive than where we, obviously where we are.
Yeah, well, I understand. I mean, San Diego is definitely a strong market. So now, Vicki, will you take a minute and describe your home for me? Is there anything either positive or negative about the home that you think is going to affect the sale?
Well, our home was actually the model for the neighborhood, so it has tons of upgrades from when it was originally built.
Mm-hmm.
We did have a previous roof leak last winter, but it was immediately fixed right away, so everything should be in great shape.
Great. Well, Vicki, it sounds like you guys have a beautiful home, and I'm definitely excited about the opportunity here.
Great, thank you.
Vicki, as I mentioned earlier, I am going to be sending you that pre-listing package. Will you and David have time to take a look at it between now and Saturday?
Sure.
Okay, great. And Vicki, do you have any questions for me before I come out?
No, I think I feel pretty good right now. Yes.
Okay. And how about David? Is there any concerns or questions that I should be aware of and prepare for Saturday from David?
Well, he is going to want to see your track record for our neighborhood.
Okay. All right. Well, as I mentioned, I'm going to be sending those recent sales that I've done in the neighborhood myself. I'm going to put a sticky note with David's name on it. That way, when you guys get that package, he can just go right to it, okay?
Okay, I know he'll appreciate that. Thank you.
Great. So, Vicki, if you and David are able to review that package before I come out, our appointment should really only take between 5 and 25 minutes at the most, okay?
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Okay. And Vicki, when I get there, I'd like to do a quick walkthrough on my own, just like a buyer would for the first time. That way I can give you guys the best feedback. Is that okay with you?
No, that's fine. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Well, Vicki, I'm certainly excited to meet you guys both and get a chance to see your home. So I'll see you on Saturday, okay?
Okay, great, George. Thank you.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye. 24 hours later, call back and confirm the receipt.
You guys want to hear this real quick? This one's pretty short. It's the he's confirming the receipt of the pre-listing package before he still goes there. Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
Sure.
Listing package. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Vicki.
Yes.
Hey, Vicki, it's George. How are you?
I'm great, George. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hey, Vicki, I've got that referral in San Diego lined up for you. Do you have a pen?
I certainly do.
Okay. The agent's name is Tom,
Tom.
and his number is 858-864-8000.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
And I did, I talked to him about your timeline. I told him that you had to be there by the end of October, and he's going to be reaching out to you here in a couple hours, and he's going to set up a search engine, and he'll get you rolling on your home search. And just really confident after talking to him that your guys are going to be in good hands. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good. Now, Vicki, also wanted to make sure you got that package I sent you yesterday.
We sure did.
Great. And did you get a chance to review it with David?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And just so you know, we have concern about the price that you've recommended, as well as some concern with the commission.
Yeah, tell him we're not paying 6%.
Yeah,
sure you tell
David says we're not paying 6%.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Well, here's the thing, Vicki. I'm going to make a note of both price and commission, and you can let David know that we'll cover both of those in detail when I see you guys on Saturday, okay?
Okay, sounds great.
Okay. And Vicki, did David get that information I marked for him with that sticky note?
He certainly did, yes. And, he was pretty impressed.
Good. Excellent. Well, I'm glad that was enough to put his mind at ease. We do a lot in your neighborhood, and you're definitely confident we can do a good job for you, okay?
Okay, great.
All right. Now, Vicki, I also included the disclosures in that package as well and marked those with a sticky note. Will you guys be able to fill those out prior to our appointment on Saturday?
Sure, David. Yeah, I'll have David do that for you.
Okay, excellent. And that way, when I'm at the property with you guys, I can answer any questions that you may have about that disclosure form when I'm there with you physically, okay?
Okay, sounds great, George.
Excellent. Well, Vicki, I look forward to it. I'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great.
So I'll play the rest of this after everybody wraps up. If anybody does want to hear it, you can listen to it the actual presentation, but I'll have it recorded. So if you can't, you know, you guys can get to doing what you got to do, and then you can come back and replay the video. But any thoughts before we just wrap this up today, just in terms of what you just heard?
I liked it, but then like I want to know how he deals with the angry man over 6%.
Well, that's going to come up on the presentation. So did you notice how he didn't fall for any of the traps, any of the baits or discussions?
Yeah, like
Yeah, he just kept getting the information. Anytime somebody said, well, yeah, we're not going to pay 6%, he didn't try to fight them or argue them or convince them at that point in time. That's not the place to do it. The place to do it is in person, right? Face to face. It's pretty easy to get brave on the phone and say, hey, I don't like this or I don't like that or whatever, right? And throw up that wall, and they feel good because, yeah, I got that off my chest. But that face to face conversation is really where it's at. And now you have the time to be able to continue to build off of that initial discovery, discover more, and make sure that you've created the value before you have the conversation about commission. Because when do we discuss commission and price? Or I guess, what does every seller want to know? Because this is an important question Mike Ferry asked about too. What does every seller want to know? Period. I mean, what are their big questions that they have on any listing presentation or from any agent? What are questions that are common with sellers? Anybody?
I have an idea. So can you sell the home? Can you sell it in a timely manner?
Can you sell it?
Can you sell it for the highest in the neighborhood?
Okay.
Or at least for their condition of the property.
Okay.
And you have buyers that you can bring by.
You have buyers. All great questions. Any other questions that a seller will have? So she brought up selling, you know, basically what price can you sell it at? How long will it take to sell it? And then do you have any buyers? Any other questions that a seller could have? That's common.
how much will I net?
How much will I net? What else?
I've had sellers asking me what am I going to do to market the property.
Okay. What you do to market the property. Anything else?
Well, the commission.
Commission's always big, right? That's always the first thing they think. What do you charge commission? What do you do to market the property? Any other questions?
No.
Those are most of them. Anything else? That's it for the most part, right? So basically, what price can I sell it for? How long is it going to take to sell the property? Do you have any buyers? How much will I net from the sale of the home? What do you do to market the property? What steps do you take as an agent? And then commission. What do you charge commission? This is the gist of it right here. So when you go through this process, you're going to be able to answer these. But the key is, when do we answer the question on commission and price? And that's critical that you understand this concept out of anything. Do we do it up front? When do we handle price and commission? Does anybody got a guess?
In person, right?
In person's exactly the answer, right? That's definitely important. You do it in person. But through the presentation, just to visualize yourself doing a listing presentation, and they say, hey, look, we don't want to waste your time, Danny. We already got somebody saying they'll do it for 4%. If you're going to charge more than that, it's just, you know, commission is going to be a big factor for us. How do you respond to that?
Well, then I'll follow the script that Mike Ferry has that I've tried to memorize.
And how does he handle that objection with commission?
I don't remember, but yeah, it's.
His answer isn't what most people would say, and it's.
Well, he's very much like, this is my commission. Sorry about it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But he doesn't do that on the phone, or else he wouldn't even get to them face to face. So you're right about talking to him face to face. So one thing you can do is first you acknowledge on commission. When people ask commission, what you want to do is they're focused on the expense. You want to shift the focus to the benefit, right? So I'm going to repeat and affirm what you're saying. So you're saying, so Danny, you're telling me that you netting the most from the sale of your home is very important to you. Is that correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Well, the exciting news is I promise you, when we get together on Friday, I'm going to show you how you're going to make more money working with me than working with any other agent out there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, actually it does.
Let's get together. So what I did was, number one, I didn't say I'd cut my commission, but I listened to what you said. You're trying to make as much money as you can from the sale of the home. But your focus is on, I'll make more money if I spend less money. And that's not always the answer. That's not always the case. You can spend less money, hire a discount company, do minimal or do work with an agent that only works with their own buyers and not every other buyer out there. I have to show you in person the process of what we do to effectively sell properties over our list price consistently. And that's the track record, right? Showing the list price for sales price, showing that we get over 101% of our average list price. That's all your stats. And I'm going to show you guys all how to do that. But we have to get them to focus that. So the other thing you can say, what he said was, they said the 6% commission. He's like, yeah, no, I hear you. That sounds great. Yeah, I promise you. Or he says, we are going to cover that in the presentation on Friday or Saturday when we get together. And then what you'll see in the listing presentation, when they try to hit him on commission right out the gate, he says, well, it's actually a natural part of my presentation. So let's just dive into it. So he doesn't answer the commission right up the front. So the answer to the question, not just the commission objection, is you don't talk about commission or price until you've created value. How do you know when you've created value? When they've decided that you're the agent that they want to hire. If you haven't gotten them to decide, phase one, there's two phases. Phase two is list price. When you talk about the price, when you talk about the paperwork, which is commission, right? In the market. Those three things you talk about in phase two. In phase one, you're going to talk about discovery, needs, wants. What are you looking to do? What are you looking to accomplish? Let me hear your story. Let me show you what I do to sell homes, right? This is the steps that I take. This is what's happening. And I talked about market being in phase two, but we're going to talk about the market, where the market's been, where it's at, where it's heading. And we're going to start getting into that. All that's going to lead into where we talk about price. Price and commission, we don't do until we've created value and that they are sold that we can get the job done. Now, some people may say, well, how am I going to know that I want to work with you if we haven't talked about price and commission, right? And what I've heard Russ say, which he does in a very strong manner, is he won't even talk price or commission until they've said they want him to lead them in the sale of their home. The reason why he won't do that is because he knows if he gives his pricing strategy, he's like a doctor or a surgeon isn't going to give you all the steps of how they perform the surgery as you're deciding who you're going to hire. You already know based off recommendations, referrals, everything else, this is who I'm going to work with. He's like, I'm not going to give you my secret sauce of how I'm going to sell your home. Now, I don't go to that length, but I do understand the concept that you don't talk about commission too early because you haven't created the value for it yet. You don't have any equity in the bank. Commission, if they're basing you off of commission up front, right out the gate, they don't see any difference in any of the agents that are on here or any agents out in the field. They don't respect you as an agent. They think every agent can sell your home and make them as much money as possible. They think that's the truth of it. They think that's the reality of it. You have to separate yourself from the competition and see that they want to be in your best interest, in your hands, under your retainer agreement. And that's what it is when you have a listing agreement, that the only way we get paid is if I get you the results of what you're looking for. And so when I do a good job of the listing presentation, I make that very clear to them. Let me be clear here. This listing agreement isn't saying that you're going to pay me 6%. The only way I get paid is if you net this amount of money. And that's offers, not the listing agreement. It's offers that we generate that show you how much money you're going to walk away with from the sale of the home. If you're not happy with that, I get paid nothing, zero. If you are happy with what you're walking away with, and it's going to be more than if you go your discount route with any of these other brokerages that are just charging 2%, 3%, a flat fee, whatever, right? Whatever their business model is, and that's what you go chase, because a lot of people do. Well, how come I can pull up their track record and show 50% cancellation? Show all the people who tried to go that route and ended up underselling their property, right? Now you got iBuyers out there, Zillow iBuyers, where they blatantly tell you, hey, no hassle, no nothing, but yeah, we're going to sell it 20% under market value, right? So what you have to get better at, what we all have to get better at, is telling the commission story is what I call it. And the commission story is a proven.
I got to get out of here, Brandon.
We'll see. It's recorded. Thank you, Danny.
You're welcome.
Bye, Danny.
Bye, Danny.
All right. See you, bud. The commission story is
Brandon,
just,
I have a question that's like been on my mind because I feel like I've watched, the Mike Ferry, and he just says flat out no, sign the contract.
he does.
There's no
No.
talk or anything. It's just a straight no, sign the contract.
When you get to that point, and that's the simplest one that everybody tries to memorize, right? It is no. Will you reduce your commission? No. Any other questions? That's how his script says to do it. The more important part to focus on isn't that. The more important part to focus on is an objection is an unanswered question. What that means is if somebody's not willing to sign a contract with you right out the gate, there's a reason why they're hesitating in committing to you. And we have to discover what's that unanswered question that they have. And it's not always just attacking it. He had objections in that pre-qual script, and that's what they talked about. The guy said, I'm not paying 6% commission. I'll tell you the ending of the story, right? I'll tell you the surprise ending. He gets it at 6% commission after it's all done. He shows how you slay through that, through the presentation, and show the value he pulls up stats and shows side by side in terms of how much more money he was able to make his clients versus what the other people did. He also talks about how many that he sold versus what they didn't sell, the cancellations that they had, or when they did sell it, they sold it under. He's able to show side by side with numbers and stats to create the value. However, he can't just explain that in one quick, no, are there any other questions, right? It's not that answer. But that is what is taught, and that is what is out there. And a lot of people are like, oh man, I hate that answer. I would never do that. I would never do any of that style. But it's more to what Yvette said, that he's just very firm in terms of, hey, you called me, you interviewed me for the job, right? You didn't call this person, you didn't call these other people, you called me to do a job. I'm the professional, this is what I charge. And if this is what you're looking for, I'm more than happy to help you. If it's not what you're looking for, guess what? I wish you all the best, because I only got so much time on my plate. I only got a handful of people I can help at any given point in time. And the people who understand the value that I bring to the table and want my representation, that's who I'm going to commit to. Okay. So that's part of the commission story. The other part of the commission story and understanding your own value, the other part is being able to articulate so that they get that if somebody offers less than 2.5% commission on the MLS, and now is a bad time to use that as an example. Let's talk in a more regular market where there's actually 5 properties for sale on a price range, not 1 property, right? When you have 5 to 10 and buyers get to choose homes. This is part of the commission story. If you got a painter who's going to get paid $10,000 to do a 10 by 10 room, and then another person's offering him $6,000 to do the exact same job, what job is that painter going to take?
Cheaper one.
No, the painter's going to do the owner would go for the cheaper one. I'm talking about the painter, right? So the painter's getting hired for a job. So they're going to do the exact same work in 2 spots. Get paid 6 here, 10 over here. Where are they going to go do the work?
The 10.
The 10, right? So what we need them to understand is by you paying 2.5% commission is going to generate you multiple offers. It's going to give you the highest chance that you're going to have the most motivated agents out there. We want to cast the biggest net. And these are words that I use in my presentation. I want to cast the biggest net out there to capture the most amount of buyers. I don't want to limit it to people who are only going to show 2% listings. And by me not being strong enough as an agent and convincing you that you need to offer 2.5% out there, I'm actually hurting you. I'm limiting your exposure because now less people want to do the job. Does that make sense? And so what I'll tell them, if I'm going to cut anything, which this isn't strength, this is actually a weaker part, is I'm going to cut my commission, leave the 2.5 alone, because I know that that's going to do you better good, bringing in more buyers than me just saying, hey, you know what, you should be paying me 3 and them 2%. And there's agents that'll do that. They'll take a 5% commission, take 3 on their side and offer 2 on the other side because they can, or the other side doesn't know any better. They'll take 6%, get 3.5 on their side and offer 2.5 on the other, or 4 and 2, as slanted as that seems, right? How does that make you feel as an agent once you find that out? Not very good, right? If you found out that you got paid less than the average commission at 2.5%, and the other side got 3.5 or 4%, you'd feel horrible. Do you think you're going to show that listing agent's properties again in the future? Probably not, right? So you got to be smart about that, as well as future business and reputation. We don't talk about that with the sellers. What we talk about with the sellers is it is important that you offer at least 2.5% commission. Commission in our proven system, we're not a discount model, right? We are a model that is flexible, and we're willing to work with you, especially if you're a veteran or past client or whatever the case is. We're going to take care of you. There's plenty of money to make out there. But with that being said, we have a proven system and a model that generates the results and why we sell every single listing of what we've sold. There's a reason why we get over 100% of the list price. And right now, because of the lesser inventory, what the problem is and the challenge that we have as agents is more and more people can just list a house and get it sold for over asking price. And you don't need as much skills or anything because of the limited inventory. So now a seller wonders like, okay, why do I need to pay a really good agent like you, Amy, or Anthony, or Dusty, when I could just save money on the commission and still get those results? Well, the best way that I've heard it said is, yes, in this kind of market, anybody can sell your home. However, because of my experience, I'm going to protect you and make sure that after we sell the property, that you can sleep well at night, that you know you did it the right way and you protected yourself through the process. You can also talk about, hey, my TC who works with a lot of agents, 8 transactions fell out of escrow this last month. So if it's such a hot market, why are so many transactions falling out of escrow? Would you want me in your corner to guide you from the beginning to the end of the process, to make sure that I'm there to coach you and make sure that we protect you and make it so that by the end of the deal, you know that number one, you got what you want, netting the most you can from the sale of the home. 2, I protected you through the process, so you got nothing to worry about after we close that transaction. Is that what you're looking for? Yeah, that would be great, right? That's how you're going to create the value. It's not just going to be getting top dollar. Anybody can get top dollar right now. But it's not just about top dollar, as you heard with Danny just recently. He had higher offers out there. They didn't go with the highest. But that agent, even if it was a newer agent, had enough sense to know, for whatever reason, Danny was compelling them that was the right buyer. Or it could have just been that personal connection, okay? But these are all important questions. So, Amy, thank you for asking. Great questions. Does it all make sense what I'm saying? It doesn't sound like a bunch of hot air, I'm hoping. I hope you can see that it is,
Thank you.
you definitely know I get fired up about it. But you learn through the process. And what Leslie hit on earlier in that tap, think, acknowledge, and promise. That promise becomes more and more critical as you want to build in terms of your self-confidence and the way people perceive you. It's being sure in the price. It's being sure in your pricing strategy. And when we talk about pricing strategy in the future, you guys are going to see that the pricing strategy takes all the pressure off of you. If you're not right with the price out the gate, it's all about communication and based on what type of activity we're getting based on a specific price. We don't know until we put it on. All we can do is give you our best educated professional opinion. Nobody knows exactly what a home's going to sell for till it hits the market. But there are ways to create more value and desirability. And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay. So was this a good intro just in terms of the prequel? You guys got kind of a feel for it?
Great. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Now I appreciate you guys doing it. Now let's focus on the prequal for a good, at least definitely a minimum of a week. But I want to say like the next month. We practice this over and over and over. We write it out. We memorize it. Just stick to the prequal script. We'll build off of this. And we're going to get into the listing presentation. We're not going to watch this video every week, so don't worry about that, right? This was just to give you the intro to see a professional who's killing it. That guy in Seattle, he went from barely doing 10 to 12 transactions. Once he joined and started learning this system and just jumped into the coaching, he went up. He's doing over 100 plus transactions in Seattle now. His conversion's like 92, 93%. The guy's an analytical. I mean, if you heard his voice, that's about as much enthusiasm as he has. He doesn't have a lot of charisma and enthusiasm, but he's got this figured out, dialed down to a science. And he's very methodical and he sticks to the script 100%. And where he added other questions, that's not going away from the script. He's just adding more context to the skeleton. And he's got better specific questions to dig deep and give him those answers and show even more professionalism. So that skeleton script, you're going to add to it, especially when they tell you, because you see at that first question, if you noticed, when he got into, how he was able to get them to say all the other agents that they're competing against, they're either going to say one or two things. Are you planning to list with me when we get together on Friday? They're going to say yes or no, right? It's one or two. It's either yes, we are going to list with you, or, well, we're actually talking to another agent, or, we have a friend that's also in the business, or my daughter just got her license, or whatever. Whatever the answer is, it's great. Now you know what you're going up against when you show up on Friday or Saturday. That's why you ask the question. Not for them to just say yes and you to feel like crap when they say no or have their excuse. It's not about that. Get our feelings out of this. We're the professionals, right? We can ask the question and deal with whatever answer they give us, and we handle it like a pro. And now we got some more info. So when we get there on Friday or Saturday, we come correct, especially if we know who the agent is. We know their name. We can pull up their stats. We can see who they're working for, and try to understand that business model and show why they need to work with us versus them. And I don't care if you're up against the number one agent in the country or the world, right? Everybody's got a weakness. Everybody's got strengths. Everybody's got a weakness. That's why you're smiling over there, Yvette.
Because I know why you said that. I know exactly why you said that.
And she's the first to admit that a brand new agent can come in and take a listing from her if she's not coming correct to that presentation. And I've heard her say that time and time again on the listings that she's lost, right? Being the number one in the world, having this system, been doing this 30, 35 years, being able to market and do all that. You can be up against the best agent out there, doesn't matter. There's two fundamental beliefs that you have to have when you show up mindset-wise to a listing presentation. What are those fundamental beliefs, Leslie?
That you're the best agent for the job,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're going to take care of them throughout the whole process.
Yep. So number one is that you're the best agent for the job. You can't think somebody is better than you. You have to believe when you walk in that you're the best agent for it. And how can you feel that way, Leslie, if you're a brand new agent, you've only sold one or two homes in the past, right? How can you feel that you're the best agent for the job? What are your strengths? Why should I hire you, Leslie?
Well, I'm not only going to work in your best interest, but I also have my team that will be hands-on in making sure that you get the best service possible. And yeah, those are the two main ones that I would go with.
Anthony, what would you say if I'm interviewing you and you're trying to convince me you're the best agent for the job? And it's, we'll just be upfront. You've done all your business in car sales. It hasn't been in real estate. But why would I want to hire you over anybody else on this Zoom meeting right now?
I have to convince them my commitment to selling their home and tell them that, while you might consider other agents that have more business, that's less time they have to dedicate to you, where I just have all my time to dedicate to you. And I have all these resources like my team.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Anything for you, Amy? What would you say of why you're the best person for the job? Why should I hire you? Why should I put my most important investment of selling my property with you to sell my property?
You're on mute.
You're muted. Yep. All right, are you ready? Go.
I don't know, maybe because I get homes sold. I don't know.
Well, don't say you don't know, right? And
Yeah.
they don't know what you don't know. So just, so you said you get homes sold. Tell me a little bit about that. Why should I hire you with, again, my most important investment? It's the biggest thing that I've ever purchased before, and it's going to be the biggest thing that I ever sell. Why
Maybe,
should I hire you?
Great relationships with other agents.
Okay.
I'm always in touch with the agent. I don't know.
It's okay. It's good. It's good to think on the spot right now. So some of the things, if you heard what Anthony and Leslie touched on, is they're going to work harder for you, and they're committed and more dedicated to you. And they also have the resources around them to make sure that we can do what we've done for all the sellers, which there's a lot of sellers that we've helped out. And I'm saying as a team over the last 2 to 3 years, every single listing we've listed, we've sold every single one of them. And our average list price for sales price is over 100%. These are things that you can write down and practice. That's huge. So a big part of that is I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear to sell your property. I'm not going to just say, hey, list this home at $1 million when I know the best you can get is $560,000 for the house, period, right? So my track record, our track record shows that. So you can leverage the team and the resources of our proven track record. But for you is exactly what Anthony hit on, is all my time, all my commitment, all my hard work is going to be for you. Where somebody else who's doing 100 deals a year or whatever their transactions are, they're spread thin. Yes, they got a team, but they're all over the place, right? You are getting all of my attention. And I am 100% committed to making you a fan of me and referring me all the business you do in the future. And that's it. That's all you got to say. And then move to the next question. You don't have to tell them anything else other than that. They want to hear the commitment that I care about you. I'm honest. I'm going to work hard for you. And I got the ability to do it. And I know I can get the job done. So there's 2 beliefs. 1, I'm the best for the job. Nobody's better than me. I'm not number 2. I'm not number 3. I'm not number 536 or 2022 out of all the agents that are out there. I'm number 1, right? It's not cocky, it's confidence. Number 2, I can get the job done. And that's what Leslie was starting to allude to in terms of doing a good job for them. I can get the job done. I can sell your house. I know I can sell your house. Okay, that's it. So as long as you believe that walking into the presentation, you're going to have a chance. It's going to get Yvette, but she's carrying a body over there. Dusty, got to give you a crack, bud. Why should I hire you?
That's why I'm here, right? To fine tune that answer.
Yep.
I think right now I would, my reply would be, well, as a seasoned agent, one of the biggest compliments I've received from my clients is I care. And because I care, I will put you, all your goals, and everything first before me or anything. And that has always resulted in me having a high closing rate. That's what built my success over the last 15 years, is that I put you first. I put your needs first.
Beautiful. Love it. Yvette, why should I hire you?
Well, because I am dedicated because I don't have much else going on. But
And you're awesome. You can't forget that. You're awesome.
no, but I have a unique experience of working for the #1 real estate agent in the world.
Yeah.
And I learned
You're talking about Leslie, right?
100%. So I got to see the inside scoop of how she does everything. So I have experience and knowledge that other people haven't been able to see. I've worked on over 200 deals in a year. I've seen the paperwork. I know the mistakes other people made, and I know how not to do them. So you want someone who has the knowledge of the contracts and has seen every day is a new deal that you've never seen. I've learned so much. You're going to have someone who has an upper hand on that, on the contract and business side that most agents don't have.
Beautiful.
That's great.
Oh, no, that was awesome, guys. We'll leave with one last, I know we're already 30 minutes over. One last final thought here, okay? There's 4 main pillars that every top agent has. Just write these down real quick. Four key pillars. It's to consult and advise, to market and expose, to negotiate the best terms, and to oversee the transaction. Leslie, I knew you knew it.
I definitely missed all of them because I
All right,
opened
so
the
one.
web page.
So I think, what did we come up with the saying? Was it like see me know or something like that? But it's consult and advise,
Uh-huh.
market and expose, negotiate the best terms, and oversee the transaction. So you could even, not too long after your intro into your listing presentation, say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you know what a real estate agent does to sell homes? And they'll say, well, you know, we don't. We know they put it on the MLS, they put a sign out in the yard, and they just sit and hope and things work. But we have a joke and say there's 3 Ps, right? Put a sign in the front yard. They put it on the MLS, then they pray that it sells. That's what most agents do.
I mean, that sounds about right, though, for a lot of
agents. that's what most agents
That's what I've been doing the whole time.
That's, I mean, I just talked to my girlfriend who got another list. She's like, I just pray it sells. I'm like, girl, don't we all?
And that is the reason why they don't see the value in what we do, right? Now, if you know the 4 pillars and you can articulate it in a quick, concise way, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my job is to consult and advise you through the process, right? To take all the guesswork out of real estate. So you say the main point, then you give 2 supporting facts under it to take the guesswork out of real estate, right? Through my experience, through the 200 plus transactions that I oversaw last year, right, Yvette? Through the 200 plus transactions that I oversaw, I'm going to help you avoid a lot of mistakes I see other people make. Number 2, my job is to market and exposure property. The great news is that we only use professional photography, and you are going to put your property on display 24/7 in the best light possible on the internet through the MLS and through my network of agents that I know, right? I'm giving you a little bit more of different things that you can say. I've worked with so many agents. I have so many great relationships in Camarillo and Ventura County that right now my buyer's offer got accepted 1 out of 28 offers because of my relationship with this agent, and they know how we work, right? We're professionals and we want to work with other professionals. Number 3, my job is to negotiate the best terms of the transaction. It's my duty, it's my stewardship to protect your hard-earned equity in the sale of your home. And I don't take that lightly. Number 4, my job is to oversee the transaction. Did you realize that roughly 150 phone calls take place from our very first call to when we successfully close your transaction? Did you also realize that on a national average, every home has to sell twice to successfully close? Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, would you see any value if an agent did any of those things for you? And then they're going to say, yes, I really like market and exposure, or I really like your network that you have, or I really like, you know, that you're going to really, because we don't know what the heck we're doing. That's why we're calling you, that you're going to guide us through this process. Whatever they like, tell me a little bit more about that. What do you like about the marketing exposure? What do you expect in terms of marketing? So your crutch, everything you do revolves around those 4 pillars. So memorize those pillars, write it for yourself, start articulating what it is you want to do. We'll wrap it up on that, guys. I hope that was helpful. Thank you guys for committing the time to be here. I apologize. I know we promised an hour and we went an hour and a half, but appreciate you guys staying on. I hope you saw value in this. We're going to build off it. So if you haven't done it already, pick at least one other person and role play with them this week if you can on the listing or the pre-qual script. We're going to keep practice. Remember, the more you practice it, you're going to get it dialed in. And we're going to get to the point where we get very confident with it. And then we'll get into the listing presentation next. Sound good? You guys like it?
Thank you, Brandon. This was great.
Yeah, thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
We're always going to work on the skills in these meetings when we get together. It's all real estate skill building. It's the best thing I think we can do to help each other out, be the best we can. It's not about all the other legal and other fun stuff that we can learn out there. And I'm grateful we got Tom, I guess, tomorrow night, right? At 6:30. He's going to come and give us some stuff on the hero because that's good information to know about. But when we get together, it's always going to be skill building to do more business. And that's what I feel that I've been able to, you know, be fortunate to get and to be able to give. So I hope you guys see value in it, and just let me know if you guys want to talk on something one-on-one after this.
Sounds good. And
All right.
Thank you, Brandon.
No problem.
Great.
You guys
Bye,
have
Brandon. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
you know
Bye.
what? Here's my phone number. I'd love to do some role play with any of you.
You guys want to share it on the chat, or
I'll add it here.
cool. Leslie's giving her digits out. I don't know how your fiance's feel about that.
I don't know what to say.
I've made you blush twice already on here. Or it's just the way the
I just
script is.
won't. Should I tell him? Yeah, of course I'll tell him. I mean, no, I'm just
Hey, I just gave out my number.
give it out like nothing. Awesome. Okay,
Mine too.
I'll call
Everybody's
you
got
guys
everybody's
to
number?
set up a
Yvette?
time.
Yvette, put your number out there.
You
Digits
know,
Yeah.
you can Google me and it pops up. Trust I know. There you
Wait,
go.
don't we have a group text
There we go.
that you had sent out?
I
That's
think
all, everyone's
so.
number, right?
Should have it. Yeah. If
Here's
you guys
mine.
snap a picture, do something.
Awesome.
Got everybody on here. Cool.
Perfect.
Everybody have a great day. Thank you so
All right.
much, Brandon.
No
All right.
problem, guys.
Guys.
Take care.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
See you tomorrow.
Picture of that.
Yeah.